Hello, random stranger. We are revisiting the Expedition 33 OST today. Reason being that a couple of people recommended the Hololive cover of the tracks Alicia and Lumiere. But before we get to that, of course, we need to give the original tracks their due. So we'll be watching the live orchestral version of Alicia first. And you know, we always love an orchestral performance because in addition to the music, you also see the emotion so much more visibly through the musicians. So here we go. Ooh. That was a beautifully weathered cello. It's much more weight now. Oh, someone give this cellist a crown. Just such beautiful tone. Now we're just back to this really floaty, whimsical kind of feeling. The bowings are so light. I love that, like, eye contact there. Before we even get to the music theory, like chords and the use of dissonance and, you know, string bow techniques, I just really want to compliment the breathing that permeates the entire piece. Like, you can really feel the ebbs and the flows and the ups and the downs and the pulls and the longing and the sorrow, but then sort of elements of hope just all flow through so naturally in the music, and just really, really enjoyed that. Similar to what we talked about in Une vie éphémère, one of the tools that the composer uses to make us feel different emotions in Alicia is the switching between different time signatures. So Alicia opens in 3/4 time. That's 3 beats per bar. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's the waltz beat, you know, it has this natural, easy sway. So despite the piece being written in a rather melancholic C minor, the 3/4 time softens that sadness and turns it into something more tender, more gentle. It's reflective. It's like someone turning over some old memories and just reminiscing. Of course, it also really helps that both the string ensemble and the piano are playing with such light touches. There's really not much pressure being placed on the piano keys or on the strings. At around 44 seconds, the piece shifts into a slow 4/4 common time. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4 beats per bar now. 4/4 is the most common time signature in Western music. But here, the 4/4 times feel so heavy. You have the piano that starts playing these blocky bass chords, like the boom, 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 on every single beat. You also have the strings that are digging in harder, like pressing their bows into their strings with more weight. It's almost like, compared to before especially, there's just no more room to breathe. You know, the lightness of the initial waltz is completely gone. And then later, around like 121, the piece transitions to yet another time signature, this time to 6/8 time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6/8 is made up of 6 pulses per bar, which are grouped into 2 sets of 3. It's kind of related to 3/4 in that it has that flowing triple feel, but it does have its own particular momentum. Again, in this section, when the time signature changes, the whole instrumentation just lightens back up. You know, things feel more open and spacious and hopeful again. It's this contrast between the different time signatures that does a lot of the emotional work. In the sections that use the 3/4 or the 6/8 time, you know, those flowy, lighter textures, they feel like they're illustrating like memory. You know, like when you're having a moment recalling a happier time long ago, like there's a tenderness in those sections that allows for the space for you to just sit and reminisce. But every time that 4/4 hits, it's like a door just like slamming shut on that reverie. Those heavy grounded beats and also the heavy instrumentation just drags you out of the dream, of the memory, and back into a reality that is more painful and more present. The 4/4 sections are almost like an interruption. You know, it's the reality that keeps pulling you and dragging you back no matter how badly you want to stay in the good place. If you allow your body to move to the music, you also feel the contrast in a very physical way. You know, you go from swaying to the flowing triple feel, like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, to being pinned down by that heavy 4/4. If you look at the body language of the musicians too, you can also see that physical change. It's like going from being able to breathe freely to having something heavy pressing on your chest. It's a great way to manipulate what people are feeling as they listen to this piece. The second thing I wanted to highlight was the use of harmony to create a piece that is full of longing and just unfulfilled desire. To see that, we should focus on the moments in the music where the vocalist like pauses or kind of just hangs in the air. But before that, a little bit of music theory. So the piece is in C minor, as we said, which has a darker, more melancholic sound. But every minor key has what's called its relative major. So the brighter major key that shares the exact same notes as the minor. A quick trick to find the relative major is if you start from the minor key and then you go up 3 semitones. So 1, 2, 3. So for C minor, that relative major is E flat major. Same notes, but it does sound warmer and more hopeful. So now that we know that little bit of music theory, let's start from the beginning again. The piece begins in C minor, but there's a really important chord that comes up soon. That one. Da, 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 da. The music actually lands on the E flat major chord, the home key of the relative major. It's a small moment, but it's significant. You know, it's like a brief opening in the clouds. The melancholy of the C minor still underlies the music, but when it hits that relative E major chord, if only briefly, you feel just a spark of something brighter. There's another important chord that she stays on. So there, around like the 26-second mark, the vocalist pauses on that B flat major chord. Now, B flat major is the dominant of the E flat major. Put simply, it's the chord that most naturally wants to head to the E flat major. So when her voice lingers there, it creates this feeling of Like you're on the cusp of arriving somewhere more hopeful. Like I imagine her standing at the door, just like kind of peeking out, contemplating stepping outside to a better place. Maybe thinking about a future where things aren't so bleak, or just remembering a happier time. But what does she actually end up doing? Okay, surprise, surprise, she does not go to the happy place. She actually goes back to the C minor. Duh! But actually, the chord accompanying her there was more ambiguous. It was a A flat major 7. So even though Alicia is predominantly melancholic in the C minor, you get these scattered moments where moments of hope come through, or potential hope, let's say, where the harmony briefly opens up towards something warmer. However, those moments are also quite devastating because they don't ever last. Note too that these hopeful, more restful moments only occur in the 3/4 and the 6/8 time sections, so the lighter flowing parts. In the 4/4 chorus section, like the heavy grounded reality bits, there are no moments of harmonic warmth. In fact, the tension just builds in those sections. For instance, here in this 4/4 section, do you see how long she just held that like B natural note? She really just suspended it there. B natural is just one tiny half step below the C, so the home note of the C minor. Like it's so close to resolving, so close to arriving home, but it doesn't quite get there, not yet. It kind of just like hangs, creating this agonizing tension in that moment. I loved how she did that. So instead of da 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 da, da it's building da da ba. Instead of like that triumphant "I'm home," it's like da da da. She kind of pulls back, and it's just so careful. It's almost like, oh god, I shouldn't have that much hope, because hope is a very dangerous thing. And eventually, at the end of that chorus, the music does finally return to C minor. But again, it's not a triumphant return. It's more like surrender, coming back to the hard reality. Essentially, the harmony tells of how hope and potential happiness exist only in memory, in reflection. And then again, in the grounded reality of that 4/4 time, that returns back to the C minor, there's only tension and the weight of the present. And that's what you're left with. One of the more heartbreaking moments for me was towards the end. I mean, look at the heartbreak in those eyes. This is the point where the music should finally resolve. Like it should have been da 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 da. And the vocalist, she does land on the C, like the home note of the C minor. She's arrived, but the accompaniment underneath her doesn't play the expected C minor chord. And we've seen this before previously. Instead, it lands on an A flat major 7 chord. The A flat major 7 chord has the note C in it. That's a C. So the vocal and the accompaniment, they're not clashing, but they're also not in complete agreement either. It's kind of a beautiful, ambiguous moment. The voice is saying, I'm back to reality. But the harmony underneath is gently pulling away from that certainty. So it's not minor, it's actually major. It's not fully resolved. It's somewhere uncertain. It's like it's somewhere that wants to go to a brighter place than it's currently stuck in. So let's go back a bit. There's an A flat major 7. This is the heartbreaking bit. everything returns back to C minor right at the end. It's so reluctant, like there's a slowing down in the music, and then the accompaniment too eventually also returns to the finality of that C minor. Like, it genuinely tried to land somewhere more hopeful, but it couldn't sustain it, and so it does settle back into the gloominess that it is familiar with. I think when you pull all of that together, like the shifting time signatures, the use of rare spots of brighter harmony by utilizing that relative E flat major, but then confining those moments to the lighter, like 3, 4, and 6, 8 time sections. Alicia goes beyond just being a sad piece. It's much richer than that. It makes you feel a sense of intense longing, of wanting to go somewhere better, and of almost getting there, but also devastatingly, of the quiet, resigned acceptance when you can't. It's another track where the composer really understood his assignment, including creating that beautiful tug and pull of very conflicting emotions.